Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Scary Kitty and today we are diving into part 3 of the MH370 series, the conspiracy theories as to why flight MH370 disappeared. If you haven't watched the first 2 episodes of this series, I will have them linked down below for your convenience. You are not going to want to miss out on parts 1 and 2 before you listen in. There have been 6 pieces of debris from MH370 since 2015. 2 of these pieces were highly publicized as they were able to be traced directly to MH370, one piece being part of the wing found on Reunion Island on July of 2015, and a wing flaperon found in Tanzania in June of 2016. Both of these places are off the eastern coast of Africa near Madagascar. It is important to remember that this is the only Boeing 777 missing in the entire world, and so pieces that are found can be safely assumed that they are coming from MH370. So let's dive into the conspiracies. Conspiracy 1. MH370 was hijacked. The first conspiracy theory from this event is one that is highly publicized and debated. It is that the flight was hijacked. This was brought up by news outlets such as ABC News and LA Times. It is speculated by some that the 2 Iranian passengers were terrorists aboard flight MH370, and that they were the reason behind the disappearance of the plane. Although many people speculated this through the lens of prejudice towards the 2 young men, aged 19 and 21, they were more harshly accused of terrorism because of the stolen passports they used to obtain passage onto the plane. This does not paint the men in a favorable light, but it was later found that they were using the passports that they bought in Malaysia to immigrate to China to seek peace from their home country. It is speculated that the plane was taken to a remote island in the area. There are over 600 different runways in the area that the plane could have landed. This conspiracy could be debunked by the fact that the flight did fly mostly above the Indian Ocean and not towards any large cities, and there was no communication between ground and the so-called hijackers for a plea deal. Electronic hijacking is another form of hijacking with new technology that airplanes are using today. A terrorist could hijack a plane using systems and programs already factory installed in the planes by hacking these systems and taking over the control of the plane. The Boeing company has the ability to do this with all Boeing planes, and it is interesting to think that this avenue of conspiracy was not further investigated by investigators. Conspiracy 2. Diego Garcia Air Force Base. Diego Garcia is a small island about 12 square miles, a couple hundred miles away from the Maldives. It was known to be populated in the past by people of Indian descent, but in the past, the British military took it over. From there, the US government took it over from Britain in the 1970s. It became the Naval Support Facility of Diego Garcia. It is theorized that MH370 was either captured by the US military and flown to Diego Garcia, or shot down by the Diego Garcia base. The base has been known to be a place where terrorists are tortured, and there is a CIA presence there. This is an extremely secret island, and there's very little known about it. There are eyewitness accounts from the people of the Maldives saying that around 6 or 7 a.m., which is close to the time that the plane is thought to have crashed, that a huge jet flew over the island at an extremely low altitude. When the eyewitnesses were shown a photo of a Boeing 777, they claimed that that was the plane that they had seen flying overhead. The White House spokesperson for Diego Garcia claims there was no activity like this on the day the plane disappeared. Conspiracy 3. The passengers are still alive. As it has been almost 5 years since the disappearance of MH370 at the time of this video, it is assumed that all passengers and crew from MH370 have passed. Philip Wood, an engineer from IBM, an American-based company, was, or is, a passenger of MH370. He is claimed to have reached out by cell phone since the disappearance of the plane occurred. Someone claims to have received a text message from Philip that indicated he was being held captive on a U.S. Air Force base and sent a photo that was completely black. Normally, when you send a photo through text message, you are able to see the properties of said photo. When the properties of this photo was investigated, it was triangulated to be located in the middle of the Diego Garcia base. Conspiracy 4. The MH370 plane crash was a murder-suicide. Our fourth conspiracy focuses on the pilot, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah. He had been flying his entire life and was one of Malaysia Airlines' best pilots. It is known that he had a flight simulator in his home and that he would often simulate flights he was preparing for in order to practice the course. Investigators did find on Shah's flight simulator that on one of the courses, he was attempting to land a plane on a small island in the Indian Ocean. There are many checks needed to become a pilot, and Shah checked all of them. He was mentally and physically sound with no financial issues or personal issues at the time to speak of. But weeks before the flight, Shah's daughter recounts that he had completely retreated into his bedroom with his flight simulator and would not come out to interact with the family. She recounts that when she did talk to him, he was distant and cranky and not the father she knew. She also recounts her father asking her how she would feel if he were to divorce her mother, his wife. Shah's wife has done 2 lengthy interviews with press where she talks about their marriage breaking down before flight MH370. After 30 years of marriage, Shah was caught with another woman. Shah's wife knew that he was looking to divorce her and that he believed reconciliation of their marriage was impossible. He refused to talk to Islamic elders to try and mend the marriage. The day before the MH370 flight, Shah's wife and children left him due to the infidelity. It is also reported that Shah was a fervent supporter of Anwar Ibrahim, a pro-democracy icon in Malaysia. Anwar was jailed for 5 years due to sodomy on the day the flight disappeared. Shah's daughter recounts her father being visibly upset from the sentence and believed it was a politically motivated prosecution. This theory leads us to believe that from the personal life of Zahari Ahmad Shah, there is evidence to back up that this man was preparing for a murder-suicide on the flight of MH370. He was an experienced pilot with the knowledge needed to pull off such an elaborate murder-suicide. Also, before the flight disappeared, it was tracked and seen taking a long flight over the island of Penang, the city in which Shah was from. His family and friends heavily deny that he would do something like this to jeopardize the lives of hundreds of people. Conspiracy 5. There was a fire on the flight. A popular theory for the MH370 flight is that there was a fire on the plane. The fire, possibly caused by the large amount of lithium batteries being carried on the plane, could have potentially blacked out all the passengers from the smoke inhalation in the cabin and cockpit to the point of asphyxiation. The fire could have also caused the many mechanical errors seen on the plane's communication systems. It's eerie, and to this narrator, almost implausible to think that a plane filled with people who have died from asphyxiation would autopilot and fly for 7 hours until the fuel ran out. Especially with the amount of fuel with reserves being carried, it's hard to believe that the plane continued to fly instead of just burst into flames and plummet towards the earth. And finally, we have Conspiracy 6. MH370 was abducted by aliens. This conspiracy is a favorite among the YouTube Illuminati. It is entirely selfish to believe that we as human beings are alone in the universe. Beings that are capable of intergalactic travel would absolutely be able to abduct a Boeing 777. If the plane crashed into the Indian Ocean, there would have been remnants found from such a large plane. The flight would have absolutely exploded into hundreds of pieces, and the seats on the plane would have been able to float. But from almost 5 years after the disappearance of the flight, only 6 possible pieces have been found. This seems odd, and almost as if the plane never crashed into the ocean at all. The question is, why would aliens want to abduct MH370? The answer is the same as always. Why do aliens want to abduct anybody that they do? Perhaps for the couple hundred human test subjects aboard the plane, of different ages and ethnic backgrounds. Perhaps for other content on the plane that we have no idea about. Either way, this is one of the more far-out conspiracies covered by this narrator. Does this narrator believe in the plausibility of this conspiracy? Who am I to say one way or the other? All these theories are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the literal hundreds of theories for what happened to Malaysian Airlines Flight 370. I hope you all enjoyed the theories that I've covered, and for the ones that I missed, comment down below and tell me why you think your theory is plausible. I think it's amazing that with the technology and resources we have today, we have still been unable to find such a massive plane like a Boeing 777. All in all, the saddest part of this whole situation is that 239 innocent people went missing and are presumed to be dead, and the families and friends of all these people still do not know what happened to them. I can't imagine what pain they carry with them from this experience. If you like this series and you want to hear more creepy conspiracies, give this video a like or subscribe to my channel. What do you think happened to Flight MH370? Was your theory touched upon in this video? If not, comment down below and let me know your thoughts on what happened to one of the most famous planes in history. If you have a creepy experience you'd like read by me, send me the story in the email I'll have linked down below. I can't wait to hear from you, and remember, stay scared, kittens.